If you've ever tried to create a vision board and found that it didn't really deliver for you or that you didn't quite connect with it, it's going to be down to missing at least one of these 6 key steps that I'm sharing with you in today's video. And number 6 is crucial, so please do implement it. And don't worry about past vision board attempts, because I'm about to share with you the most powerful vision creation techniques that has worked for me time and time again to help me create holidays and travel experiences, high levels of income, and our most powerful creation yet, our little one that's on the way in just a few weeks from now, who was actually on our vision board at the start of 2024. So when I tell you that this method is powerful, I mean it. By the way, my name is Dipesh and I create content that helps to make spiritual and philosophical teachings more actionable and practical in the modern world. And other than subscribing, which I'd absolutely love, I have one favor to ask you. Please drop in the comments your questions, your takeaways, or anything else that you want to say. Your engagement means everything to me and I will do my best to help every single one of you. So let's get into it. I'm gonna take you through this process step by step, but before we do, I'm gonna ask you to get a pen and paper ready if you don't already have one. Once you've got it, I want you to write down these 9 areas of life that I would suggest as having as key areas of focus for your vision. Now, these areas of life are only suggestions and I recommend them personally because I know myself, I can be quite a workaholic. So having different areas of life to focus on means that I actually end up giving attention to each of those areas of life, allowing me to experience more of a rounded life because that's what I want to experience. Of course, this is your vision, so you can choose to keep and remove and change any part of it that resonates the most for you. At the end of the day, because it's your vision, don't let anyone else tell you what you can and can't have. So the 9 areas of life that I choose to focus on personally start with number 1, health. Purely because without your health, everything else in life is going to be pretty pointless and you're not going to be able to enjoy it. So taking care of your health for me is definitely priority number 1. The second is your career or your business aspirations. Now, I said career or business because some people love their job and are career focused, and some people don't like their job, want to create a business and are focused that way instead. Either one's fine. Choose which one works best for you. Third, think about your romantic life with your partner and your significant other. Fourth, think about your family life, how you want that to look. Fifth, focus on travel and experiences. I find that actually some of my most creative ideas have always come from experiencing different countries and different cultures. Sixth, focus on giving back. I really like this one myself because I believe that the more we're able to give back to others, the more we end up receiving in return. Seventh, focus on your personal growth. So what does this look like in terms of your own evolution, whether it's on an educational basis or on a spiritual basis? You get to choose whatever works for you. Eighth, I look at my social life. So what do I want my life to be like with friends outside of family? And ninth, I look at what I want to do for fun. Now, this one really tends to trip a lot of people up at the beginning, and it did for me as well. The point of fun is to think about what you like to do in your life that has no bearing on things like your health, your career, or your business, or any other aspect of your life. So an example would be, for me, I love playing golf and I love mucking around on the guitar. Now, am I a world-class guitarist or planning to be on stage at any point in time? Not really. I just like doing it for fun. Same thing with golf. I do it because I enjoy the game. As much as it might frustrate me when I'm having a bad day playing it, I love playing it just for the fun of playing the game. So when you're thinking about your fun aspect of life, think about what you like to do purely for the enjoyment of doing it and nothing else. So that's the 9 areas of life that I like to focus on. And for each of the areas of life that you've just chosen to write down for yourself, follow this process. Step 1 to creating a vision starts with visualization, because everything that you want in your life first starts in your mind. And if you can't see it in your mind first, how are you going to notice it when it comes across you in your reality? Just to be clear, to be able to visualize your dreams does not require a master's in meditation or years of monk-like living. Although I'm sure it doesn't hurt the process, it's not a requirement to be able to manifest powerfully. And there have been so many studies and comments made by successful people and athletes where they put down a large part of their success to being able to first visualize themselves as a success. So if it's working for them, there's no reason why it can't work for you. To start the process of visualization, pick the area of life that you want to focus on first, and then close your eyes and take 3 to 5 deep breaths. This just allows you to come back to a state of calm before you start visualizing. The fastest way to get to a calm state that I found is by counting your breaths in for 4 seconds and out for 4 seconds. Once you feel that calm, then you can start visualizing. And this is where I want you to go wild in your imagination with the best version of your result that you're looking for. For example, I did this a couple of years ago when I was looking to manifest my dream holiday to the Maldives. Now, most people would just stop at the idea of thinking about the Maldives, and that's a great start. But the trick here is to be as specific as possible. So I didn't just stop at the Maldives. I started in my mind imagining what airline we were going to be traveling by and how awesome the flight was going to be, what it would be like to get on a seaplane and take off and land on water for our island hotel. I imagined what the rooms would be like and what the sand would feel like beneath my toes. I imagined what it would be like to sip on cocktails and watch over the ocean and a sunset. And I even imagined what it would be like to sit in our own private infinity pool, looking out onto the horizon, disappearing into the water. Your degree of specificity directly impacts your degree of creation. To make this super clear for you, I want you to imagine that you go to a restaurant, and in this restaurant, I want you to imagine that they have everything that you love and everything that you hate on the menu. And imagine that the waiter comes over to take your order and you say that you want food. And that's where you stop. And the waiter disappears. The kitchen prepares the food and they come out and deliver 5 items that were on the menu that you absolutely hated. Now, the waiter hasn't really done anything wrong here. You just weren't specific enough about what you wanted. A really good example of this is also when people try and manifest money. And what they do is they ask for more money. So imagine that you're on a 30K salary and that specific year you were gifted an extra £200 for the year. Technically, that is more money. So the waiter, or in this case, the universe, did actually deliver exactly what you asked for. You might just not have been specific enough for what you were looking for. The more specific you are in your visualization, the more likely you are to create exactly that reality. Once you've done step 1, we can move on to step 2 of the process, which is to internalize. So now that you've got the vision clear in your mind, I want you to internalize and embody it. You can do this by asking yourself, if I was living in the vision right now, in this present moment, what would I be feeling? This step early on is crucial because emotion is energy in motion. And the more you embody the emotion of your vision, the more your energy will work towards making that vision a reality. The goal here again is to be as specific as possible and to choose words that really resonate for you. Please don't think that you need to use certain words because that's what other people might think is the appropriate word to use or feel in that scenario. Using the holiday example for myself, you might be thinking that the only words that I could have used would be excited or thrilled, buzzing, or any other so-called high intensity feeling. But the only word that really resonated for me about that specific vision was a real sense of serenity and calm. So those were the words and emotions that I chose to internalize. Once you've chosen the words and the emotions that resonate the most, we can move to step 3, which is to materialize. This is the part where you now write down everything you just saw in your mind. This is so important because I call this the first step of creation. You're taking something that was intangible from your mind and you're making it tangible in the real world by putting it down on paper. The act of writing is so powerful because it puts a message into your mind that this is something that you really want to create, and you've taken the first step to making it something real. So in the same level of detail that you just visualized, write down all those details on paper. And at this point, you might start to think, oh, I might take a few shortcuts or just write down some of the details because the rest is in my mind. Do your best to resist this urge. This is just a default way of us to self-sabotage our own visions. Become hyper aware of this feeling and just follow the process anyway. Now, before we move on to the next step, repeat the process of steps 1 to 3. Visualize, internalize, materialize for each area of life that you've chosen for yourself. And when you're done, you can move on to step 4. Step 4 is to now symbolize. This is where we start the process of creating the vision board. Now that you have each area of your life visualized with an emotional connection and the details written down, start to find images that resonate the most for each area of life. I typically use Canva for this, and I get the images attached to a 6x4 template, which is the standard size of a photograph, and that's what we end up getting printed and then cut up into smaller pieces to stick on a board. But you can do it in whichever way feels best for you, even if you just printed the images out on normal paper and cut those out and stuck them on board, it would work just fine. The goal for step 4 when you symbolize is to find the pictures that match your visualization and words the best. And the way that you can test if it's the image that works best for you is to notice if, when you see the images, you feel the same way as the emotions that you'd internalized for that area of life. You can use Google, Pinterest, Instagram, magazines, or even books to get the inspiration that you need to find the pictures that resonate the most for you. The great thing about this is that you don't need to limit yourself to just one picture. If you feel like there's 2 or 3 that really resonate for you, use all of them. But personally, I wouldn't go past 3 images. It might start to get a little bit overwhelming and unnecessarily complex. So for me, as a general rule of thumb, I stick between 1 and 3 photos per area of life. So for step 4, and to complete your vision board, repeat this process for each area of life that you've chosen. And once you're done, we can move on to the next step. So the next step in the process, step 5, is to advertise. I've chosen this word specifically because what are adverts designed to do? They're designed to make you act in a certain way by constantly drumming into your mind an action that you should be taking. Well, if it's working for the largest organizations in the world, why can't we steal that method and advertise our own vision boards and our visions to ourselves constantly? This means putting your vision board in a place where you can see it every single day, and ideally multiple times a day. My place of choice is in our bedroom on our cupboard door, and it's because I see it first thing in the morning and I see it last thing at night, and because I work from home, I see it multiple times a day every time I go into our bedroom. For you, choose whichever place you're going to be able to see it most obviously as much as possible throughout the day. Think about the areas that you go to without thinking. So it might be your bathroom, it could be your bedroom, it could be on your fridge in the kitchen. Any place in your daily life where your attention can be grabbed by the board being there. The more you see it, the more you're imprinting into your mind that this vision is something that you're working to make real. If it's in your awareness, you can make it your reality. And finally, we can move to step 6, which is to actualize your vision. This is the step that I believe most people miss out on and is probably the reason that so many visions never become a reality. We have to acknowledge that we live in a world of cause and effect. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So why would creating our vision be exempt from this rule? What I mean by this is that you can do steps 1 to 5 over and over again, but if we don't act in the emotion of our vision in our day-to-day life, then we will not attract our vision into reality. For example, if I go back to the holiday vision with the Maldives, the emotion that I internalized was the sense of serenity and calm. So the trick to making my vision a reality was to bring this emotion into my day-to-day behavior. So whether I was on a call with a colleague, whether I was speaking to my wife or going for a round of golf, the goal was to experience those day-to-day things that I would do in the emotion of my vision. When you do this, you're living life in the emotion of your vision, which means you'll attract the right people or the opportunities that can help make your vision a reality much more effectively. Doing this makes you the cause of your vision, and the effect is having it materialize in your life as a real experience. It's actually the reason that we were able to get such a ridiculously good deal on our trip to the Maldives. Now, I've got one final bonus step to help you manifest your vision faster than you ever thought was possible. Forget about the idea of manifesting on your timing. The minute you let go of needing your vision to happen by a certain date or time, the more chance you give yourself of attracting your vision faster. If you're wondering why, it's because by letting go, you're moving away from the emotion of desperation. Because when you act from desperation, you repel your vision. But when you act from the emotion of your vision as if it already exists, you attract effortlessly. Please go through these steps as many times as you need to so that you can start creating your most powerful vision for an incredible 2025. Let me know in the comments any questions or key takeaways that you've taken from this video, and I will reply to every single one of you. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you like this video, you'll love this one up here too. See you on the next one, and until next time, stay visionary.